Okay, I think we're ready to rock and roll. I will continue to watch the weight room and such, so not to worry. With that, let's get started. Hi, everybody. How is everybody doing today? Yeah, thumbs up. Everybody's digging the snow. It is hard to believe that this semester is closing down so quickly here. I can't believe it. A few weeks and we're going to be celebrating Christmas and finals will be over, right? It's gone so quickly. We're glad to have everybody here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ruth Jones and I'm with the Minds Foundation and I work on the alumni engagement team. And we are the group that brings Lunch Bunch to you every month on the third Thursday from noon to 1. So thanks for joining us. If you're new to Lunch Bunch, welcome. And if you're a regular, as I see many of you are, welcome back. As always, we're glad to have you with us as we continue our look at the people and the programs that make Minds great. Today, we are really excited to welcome Dr. Lakshmi Krishna and a few of our students who are part of our Undergraduate Research Scholars Program. And Dr. Krishna is the director of this program and will provide us with an overview. This is an amazing resource for our students to engage them and connect them in projects that they are wanting to do research in, to make those connections, to also help them seek out funding and resources to fund their research, and also then to share and communicate all their work with the Minds community and the greater community at large. So excited to hear about all of the wonderful energy and projects that are coming out of this program. So you'll hear from Dr. Krishna in just a minute. As we do each month, a few quick reminders. You know, you all are pros at this. I know who's on this call. You've joined us before, but if you have forgotten, or if we do have some new folks that I'm forgetting, you are absolutely welcome to raise your hand with a question or just put it into the chat. We'll keep an eye on that as we go along. In the instance that we might run out of time, we don't get to your question, we'll circle back with you after the program. As you know, all of our programs are recorded. And now that we've been doing Lunch Bunch virtually for nearly 3 years, can you believe it? Rod, I'm looking at you, Rod, because you've been with us since the very beginning, it seems like. We've got a wonderfully rich archive of programs from all across campus that you can click on and listen to whenever you want. They are stored on the alumni website, which is weare.minds.edu. And if you go to that page, you'll see where it says alumni, and you can click on Lunch Bunch and see the archive, the buttons on the bottom to look at any one of the past 3 years programs. So we will continue to add to that with today's program. Lastly, and as always, if you have ideas for future programs, we would love to hear from you. Most of the things we've done all this time have been suggestions from our audience. We want to provide the programs that you want to know about, so keep them coming. With that, I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to turn the floor over to Dr. Lakshmi Krishna. Welcome.
Thank you, Ruth. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. And special thanks to the Foundation for inviting us to share about what we do at the Office of Undergraduate Research Scholars. So I will begin today with some introductions. I have 3 undergraduate seniors with me today, going to talk a little bit about their research, very exciting. And I will also provide you an overview of what we do. And anytime during this session, you're welcome to raise your hand, ask questions. Please, we welcome questions. So, awesome. So a little bit about myself. My name is Lakshmi Krishna, and I am the director of undergraduate research here at Minds. So I came to Minds in November of 2011. Oh my gosh, time flies. As a postdoc. So my PhD training is in material science. And I've had a few roles here at Minds before formally stepping in this role as the Director of Undergraduate Research in 2018. So that's a little bit about how I came to Minds. And as I said, I'm super excited today that I have 3 exceptional scholars joining me. They will all share with you about their research and how they have benefited from this research experience. But the scholars today who will be speaking are Paul Varosi, a senior in engineering physics, Eric Willer, who's also a senior in petroleum engineering, and Arielle Wright, who's a senior in quantitative bioscience and engineering. So very excited. Awesome. So before we start, I just want to give a little bit of overview of the program. So University Honors and Scholars Programs is actually home to 6 cross-cutting academic programs with affiliated curricular, co-curricular, and extracurricular components that are open to all students, regardless of disciplinary major, experience, or background. As you can see, undergraduate research is one of them. Students can participate in undergraduate research right from their first semester on campus. They can continue doing that till the senior year. And it is one of the largest co-curricular signature student experience. So really, really proud of what we do. So I want to emphasize that honors and scholars programs are not, 4.0 GPA programs that add more works to students' course load, but really the ethos of University Honors and Scholars Program is to generate opportunities for students to follow their passion and facilitate, curricular and co-curricular learning that really construct deeper and broader experiences, right? So here is where I like to think of undergraduate research as an experiential learning opportunity. So what do I mean by that? So it is, I like to describe it as an engaged learning process where students learn by doing, and more importantly, reflect on their experiences and share what they have done with the community. So those are kind of the elements of experiential learning. So I thought I'll quickly talk about, what undergraduate research is, importance of undergraduate research, and what do we do to support undergraduate research on campus. So as you all know, Minds' newly acquired status as an R1 institution is truly a testament to the tremendous growth of research that happens at Minds, right? When you think of Minds, we think of it as an institution that is really a top of mind institution for training these next generation of students, STEM students who are really prepared to tackle some of the pressing challenges that we are facing in the society, right? So I'd like to think that undergraduate research really creates this distinctive, competitive Minds graduates who are equipped with skills to tackle the biggest challenges. Minds, we have world-class faculty that are conducting research that aims to, address these critical needs. And undergraduate research is really about having students work with this faculty, be a part of the solution to some of the biggest challenges that we are facing. So the benefits of there's a formal definition to undergraduate research. It could be an inquiry or investigation conducted by an undergraduate student that makes an original intellectual or creative contribution to the discipline. This is the kind of the definition that the Council on Undergraduate Research, which is a national council, uses. So what are the benefits of engaging in this process, right? I can tell you there are numerous benefits. So first of all, participating in like an authentic research experience as undergraduates is a powerful way to bridge the gap between the classroom environment and the real world experience. For instance, Professor Terry Lowe in material science, I know their group is working, they've invented a new mechanism to nearly instantly neutralize pathogenic viruses and bacteria, right? Super important. And an undergraduate researcher, actually, Emilia Ashton, is a part of this group working on that. And I think they are getting ready to file a patent. So in a nutshell, it's super beneficial for students. Then undergraduate research also like combines developing like creative problem solving skills with practical knowledge of like the discipline's best practices. I like to think that research creates flexible and independent thinkers, students that really like to think outside the box to solve problems, right? Which is what employers want, regardless of the major. So in addition, doing research really makes you to critically read and analyze information. You learn to be patient and persistent. And I'm sure all our scholars that are here today will share what they have learned. So that's just kind of a gist of what, what's the importance of undergraduate research. So that's, from this student's benefit. I have one other point, sorry, I missed to emphasize is we like to think undergraduate research really as, students are partners in scholarship, right? It is a really collaborative research and scholarship experience with a faculty mentor. So that's the way I like to think about what undergraduate research is, really partnership and scholarship. Okay, so I have a few quotes from the faculty here on why they like working with undergraduate students, why they like teaming up with students in research. So Dr. Terry Love here talks about undergraduates are all potential future designers, innovators, and technical leaders on the first day they arrive at Mines. We can maximize this potential by incorporating undergraduates into research team environments that provide context to apply their textbook learning. The development of curiosity and facing the challenges of problem solving in research provide meaning to their coursework. Undergraduates enrich the research environment for senior graduate students, postdoc, and staff by providing mentoring opportunities. Developing teamwork and collaboration skills during the formative stages of higher education leads to all-star graduates. Undergraduates contribute to having a vibrant and diverse ecosystem for research and discovery at Mines. So I really also want to emphasize this aspect of this opportunity of getting to work in a setting, not just with your faculty mentor, with grad students, postdocs. So it's really an enriching experience. Likewise, Dr. Tom Williams from computer science says that having the opportunity to engage in research experience as an undergraduate fundamentally changed the course of my career. It helped me learn what research looked like, exposed me to new areas behind what my courses covered, and provided me with mentors who pointed me to graduate programs that would allow me to best explore my intellectual interest. I love doing research with undergrads so that I can help provide these same opportunities for next generation of scientists, academics, and inventors. It is really exciting to get an undergraduate researcher on board and teach them what research, share research with them. So Dr. Christine Morrison, an assistant professor in chemistry, says that I love supporting undergraduate students in the lab because it benefits the undergraduate students, graduate students, and the principal investigator. If you are considering a career in research, undergraduate experience is crucial for seeing if that type of work appeals to you and to build your resume. Having undergraduate students in the lab also benefits graduate students who are looking for mentorship experiences and may like to have another pair of hands to help with the experiments. I also love working with undergraduate students one-on-one because I can learn about their interest and support them in their education and career goals. Really, to say that faculty truly enjoy. Dr. Sullivan here says that at the Colorado Fuel Cell Center, there are undergraduates that come from many departments: mechanical, chemical, electrical engineering, material science, physics. Each student brings a different perspective and skill set that contributes to the team in meeting our research goals. So this is something I also want to emphasize is undergraduate students here work on projects that are very interdisciplinary, right? So they work with the students from different majors, and I think that is so important because real world problems are interdisciplinary. Okay, with that, I just wanted to then talk about what does the Office of Undergraduate Research do to assist, enhance, and promote undergraduate research across all academic disciplines. there's a lot more that we do than what's on the slide, but for the sake of today's discussion, I'm gonna focus on how do we fund students, how do we support students, right? In the next few slides, I'll talk about all the fellowship opportunities that we have. Primarily, I like to think of our office as a hub where, faculty, staff, and students can access resources, and together we can help, promote research across all disciplines. So we fund students, we celebrate and showcase undergraduate research, and we provide professional development for our scholars. Okay, so I am going to first start off with the program first. So this program was actually piloted in year 2018, so it's in the 5th year right now. The FIRST stands for First Year Innovation and Research Scholar Training Program. So the purpose of this program was to really encourage first-year students to start research on campus. So now the program is open to first-year students and transfer students. The way the program is structured is that in the fall semester, the students take a 1-credit class, which is called Entering Research. I teach the class. So we go over fundamentals of how to do literature search, what are lab notebook, how to keep good lab notebook, right? All sorts of basic, helping them to kind of navigate the landscape of research. And most importantly, I work with students one-on-one on finding mentors. They are new to campus and there's lots happening here. So it really helps to, have someone to talk to in identifying the opportunities that excites them more. And that's, I truly enjoy that. Students get stipend for conducting research. And at the end of the spring semester, we have a symposium where they present research. So currently we have 40 students in this cohort. And here is a picture of Avery Tyndall, who says that the first fellowship gave me my first experience in a professional lab and enriched my education in countless ways. Avery graduated from Mines and she's working in an R&D lab right now. Okay, I also wanted to share that it is so important for our students to engage in research, as early as they can, because it really helps experience the research life cycle, right? So here are some of the accolades of our first scholars. They have gone to win astronaut scholarships. Our first scholars have won NSF GR Graduate Research Fellowship Awards. Lauren Zoe Baker won a Goldwater. You will hear from Paul next. Paul also won a Goldwater. So it is amazing what starting research early on can do. So with that, I will invite Paul Rossi to introduce himself and talk about a little bit about his research and what did Paul benefit by this experience. Paul, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Lakshmi. That's awesome. So as kind of an introduction, my name is Paul. I'm a senior in engineering physics, and I participate in the first program. You can see me in the green shirt back when I was a freshman and clean shaven. So kind of as a background, I came to Mines because I wanted to go to the best engineering school in Colorado and still be close enough to family to see them and really value family. Then in my first fellowship, I worked with Professor Elliot Caput, who works with quantum information. So then over the past 3, going into my 4th year, I've performed multiple different research projects in quantum information, specifically in algorithms, benchmarking, and superconducting qubits. As a result of that, Lakshmi mentioned, I won a couple of scholarships, but also got a couple of fantastic collaborations, internships, publications, and presentations. And as a future, my goals for this next year, and I'm just finishing up applications for a PhD program next year to continue contributing to quantum information. So my Mines experience has really enrich that. And then as another aside, I'm actually being a mentor for one of the first students this year. So Tori is a student who's getting started with quantum information. And it's awesome to be able to use the things that I've learned in the first program and in the years since to be able to contribute to another student getting involved in this awesome field. Yeah, so quantum computing specifically is particularly interesting because it has a potential addressable market from 650 to 1.25 thousand billion dollars, lots of money. This is a quote from a quantum computing company in the Denver area called Maybell Quantum, with billions already invested. However, realizing these benefits is extremely challenging. So over on the left, you can see me next to this like golden chandelier looking thing where I have the actual quantum computing chip is very small in there, but all of this other equipment is required. So that's kind of one of the research projects that I'm actively working on, but I've also done a couple of other research projects with them being on the archive. And I think I saw a question about whether I'll do my PhD at Mines. Unfortunately, Elliot is doing research. Elliot Caput does research in kind of the more theory of quantum computing. While Mines has a lot of good research, I found a particular niche that Mines just hasn't transitioned into yet. So I'm applying to some other places, but I'm continuing to collaborate with my professor. Hopefully that answered your question. Ready for the next slide.
Did you want me to go to the next slide?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
So here are just a couple of the like companies and groups that I was able to collaborate with over the course of my time here with some great quantum computing startups, as well as national labs, fantastic research locations. And this has been incredible. I've gotten to see a very good perspective of what real research looks like in industry and academia, and what sort of careers that I want to do. It was actually from talking to all of these people in the field that made me decide to stay in school to get my PhD. A lot of these people kind of gave me phenomenal mentorship. And this mentorship is something that I wouldn't have gotten without my research experience. And this mentorship and my experience in research has taught me how to think through problems that no one has ever thought through and push through difficulties in classwork, and as well as difficulties that classwork could never prepare me for. So kind of, I owe a lot of my success and my desire to be a scientist as a result of my participation in the first program and being in undergraduate research here at Mines.
Paul, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for mentoring Tori. Okay. So we talked a little bit about the first program. So the other program that we have is the Mines Undergraduate Research Fellowship. So all students are eligible to apply for this opportunity, starting from the first year to seniors. The way this program works is that students are awarded the fellowship opportunity, and they commit to do research for 2 semesters, which is the fall and the spring semesters. They get a stipend for both semesters, $1,500. And the neat thing about this project is the way this works is faculty every year in the spring submit projects, and students, they submit a lot of projects. All of them are on our website if you're curious about what kind of projects they are. But then students then, choose which project interests them more and apply. We also have an interdisciplinary Murph where, faculty can recruit a team of students from different majors working on a very interdisciplinary project, or you can have 2 faculty from different departments working together, proposing a project together. So that's exciting. Like first scholars, Murph scholars also present their research at the spring symposium. And this year we have about 120 Murph scholars in the cohort. So just wanted to quick say that one of our Murph students was invited to present her research at Posters on Hill, which is an annual poster event. So typically they select, this is run by Council on Undergraduate Research. Typically they select one student per state to go and present their research at the DC. So that was very exciting for Sadie Johnson. So next, I'm actually going to invite one of our phenomenal scholars, Eric Willer, who has been doing research for the last 4 years. In addition to doing research, Eric is also a president of Undergraduate Research Student Scholar Organization. So Eric, if you want to talk a little bit more about your research.
All right. Well, like Dr. Lakshmi just said, my name's Eric BR. I'm there on the left, big nose, and I got the wrinkled collar in that photo. So after a long day of talking with companies, right? A little bit about me. I was a Navy brat from the West Coast, so you know that means a lot of moving around and trying to interact with new people all the time. I came into mines after I was working in the fire department. At the fire department, there's a lot of volunteers there they do some kind of mud logging. So where that kind of leads us now to is my senior year as the president in URSSO, and kind of at the culmination of all this research at 4 years. So right now I work in the Murph that the doctor just mentioned, and as a petroleum engineer, I work with folks in the mining engineering department, and we're trying to look at sustainability aspects that we can improve on. I know when I first started thinking about research, it was very much like, maybe the stock photos you would see in textbooks, like you have a guy with the PPE glasses on, we're playing with the flask, and they like the white jacket. And that's how I started, but I wanted to get to move around a little bit more. And that's how I got into my team now. On the top right, that's Shebnam. She's in the mining engineering department. She has like a data background. In the middle is Nicole. She's actually a cultural anthropologist, right? It's kind of a mix in what you would normally think. And then on the bottom is a PhD candidate. She just got her degree recently, actually. So she's now Dr. Demarican, but moving on to our next slide here. This project I'm working on now, something I would have never thought about a couple of years ago, right? I've been working on this for 3 years, and it's literally just about sand. And it's not something people put a passing thought into until you start hearing about numbers and how much they might impact your day-to-day life, right? So I won't go so much into the title or anything crazy here, but we're looking at how the sand gets moved around. It's a very special kind of sand. It comes from a place in Wisconsin. And I know when I thought about Wisconsin originally, it was like cheese curds mostly, not so much silica sand. Here's some interesting numbers. Okay, we have a lot of oil and gas wells here in Colorado, and you've almost certainly heard about hydraulic fracturing. Something they used in that is this frac sand. That they use 10 to 30 million pounds of frac sand per well in Colorado. Okay, so that's enough to fill 30 homes. So we're talking a big volume, and that's got to get shipped all the way from Wisconsin, or maybe parts of it from Texas, something like that. But we're putting it on a truck and we're putting it on a train, and it's got to get all the way over here. So kind of something we had to do to learn more about this. It's not well recorded. It's not well sourced. There's not very much information from the government or from these companies on it, because it's not something people think about a lot, right? So we had to go out to the field, right? Here's a fantastic photo that I like to use because it kind of puts all the components of what frac sand is there. Those piles in the background, they got to get on the trains. The trains will come all the way down here to Colorado. So this research I've been working on for the last 3 years, and the photos we just saw before, I'm working with them, and we're trying to write an article for the Journal of Cleaner Production. Right, that'd be kind of a fantastic way to wrap up some research experiences undergraduate. But moving on to our next slide here. We tackle a lot when you're trying to attribute to a project, right? You have to learn a lot of new skills. And as an undergraduate, that means you're constantly getting feedback on things you can improve. Either in ways it's you're communicating your project, or in just technical side of it, right? So some things, a little bit more on the nose, technical skills, using software or programs specific to your industry, right? I use something called ArcGIS a lot. Outside of that, we get to make connections with industry professionals, right? I work with a lot of guys from a frac company called Liberty. We also have companies who are interested in our research. And for example, we had a gentleman from Apex who took our research and presented it to the government to advocate to make a quarry in state so we can reduce 1.8 million pounds of carbon dioxide equivalent emissions a year, right? So really a great way to kind of feel a culmination to our research, but then actually see some like applicability to it as well. So from here, like I just said, those industry connections. For my second and third year on this, I got to lead a small team of volunteers and some other Murph folks where we kind of just kept tackling the questions and building onto it with that feedback we got. And then, like the doctor said, we're always presenting our research at the end of the year. It's a great way to show our peers and some of the professionals on campus, but also professionals coming in from industry. Challenges we face along the way, right? You just can't find data. You got to hunt it down yourself. At least in this case, other Murph folks might have a bit of a different experience where it might be more structured, like that's what was my first year. But as you kind of develop a new skill set, you'll challenge yourself in a different way. But regardless, you're going to work on presenting your work to the academic community. As we look forward, this is a really great experience to share at an interview. This is how I got my first internship at a research and development center in Houston. It wasn't exactly SAM per se, which is kind of a bummer, but it was still in something called reservoir engineering. And then we take our research, we could always pass it on to incoming students. And then like we were talking about, maybe we can give it to companies so they could do something and make it bigger and make it better. So that's been my research experience.
Eric, thank you so much for sharing, and really thank you so much for your leadership at the URSS. We really appreciate that. Awesome. So I am moving on to the next slide here. Okay, so now I wanted to talk about the last program, or the most recent program we have, which is a Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship, which was actually piloted this summer. So as I've mentioned, the FIRST and Murph program are funding for students in the academic year, the fall and spring semesters, right? So there was a gap here. There were students interested in wanting to do summer research. Typically summer, some students, most students don't take classes, or courses are not, course load is lighter, much lighter. So that was a great time to actually kind of delve into research. So we had this opportunity this summer for students to engage in research. Some of the goals of this program are, again, engaging students in cutting edge research alongside faculty, provide professional development opportunities through weekly workshops, right? And prepare Mind students to be competitive for prestigious research fellowships. Now, the beauty about doing research in summer, in addition to the other semesters, is just the amount of time you spend doing research, and what that basically means that you get a lot done. But basically one could from summer research, have some kind of a proposal ready for, say, a Goldwater Fellowship or the NSF, Graduate Research Fellowship. So these are great opportunities for our students. So the structure, it's an 8 to 10 week research program, and students work full time. They receive $4,000 stipend. Again, it's a faculty mentored research. So students identify a faculty they want to work with. As I said, we have a professional development seminars, and then the students also present at the symposium. By now you would have, had a sense that dissemination of research results is really important. It's a very crucial step, and along with participation. So this summer we had 33 SURF scholars participate. It was phenomenal. And what I show here is Sierra Schussel, who was a summer scholar. She just published her results, and which is pretty exciting. It's an invited review paper. Really proud of the work our scholars do. Here's some of the pictures, some of the professional development seminars that we did this summer with the SURF scholars. Dr. Morrison talking about the unique perspective of balancing hobbies and work life. Dr. Terry Love, talking about importance of mentoring in scientific engineering and technical workspaces. Dr. Sullivan gave students a tour of the fuel cell center. That was pretty amazing. And all these students actually presented at our inaugural fall research symposium, which happened last October. And we have one of our alumni, Dr. Joe Gray, class of 68, actually give the keynote. It was pretty amazing. So now I invite Arielle Wright, who has participated in the summer program, to talk about her research.
Hi, thank you so much. So again, just to mention, my name is Arielle. I am a senior in quantitative bioscience engineering. This is a new degree here at mine, so we will actually be the first class to graduate with it this coming May. And I am actually concurrently enrolled in the master's thesis program for quantitative bioscience engineering. And so I'll talk a little bit about that as well. But I decided to include a few photos just to show you guys what life is like outside of research and how we are still able to travel and have fun. And so my story to research began kind of sophomore year. I really wish I would have joined first my freshman year, but didn't. And so I reached out to Dr. Truan's research group and began to investigate with delivery technologies, especially drug delivery technologies. This is while I was a biochemistry student. And so I changed my major sophomore year. And with changing my major, I decided that I wanted to change lab groups as well, so I could start applying what I was learning in class to my research. And so that's where I was able to join Dr. Kumar's biomaterials lab, which is what I'm currently in right now. As we go on here to the next slide. Currently with Dr. Kumar, my thesis will be about synthesizing cationic polymers. These are positively charged synthetic materials that are going to be used for gene therapy. I'm sure you guys have heard of CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing. And so our goal is to be able to provide gene therapy to anyone. It won't just be accessible to people that can afford it, because as we saw, the huge issue with the vaccines that came out with COVID is they were really hard to transport because they have to be stored in such a cold temperature, which limited their accessibility. And so one of our premises is to be able to provide these materials and with storage and transportation of gene therapy to all people, regardless of if they have access to really cold fridges and freezers. And so joining undergrad research has really influenced my future, and I'm so grateful for it. I've been able to experience what's known as research experience for undergraduates, which is something that I did this summer, which is very similar to SURF. And what I've really enjoyed about it is, like I list here on my PowerPoint, help to apply concepts that I've learned in class to what we're doing at lab. So my major is basically a mixture of computer science and biology. So I've been able to use Python to help make data analysis a lot easier for lab. I also was supported with Murph last year, which was really, really great. I got to practice my presentation skills at the Murph Symposium. But overall, undergraduate research has helped me form and decide what I'm going to be doing for my future, which is to obtain a PhD and go to grad school after I finish my thesis. I'm deciding to stay here and get my master's thesis because I'm on the track team here at Mines and I have an extra year of eligibility. And so that's why I'm staying here. But after that, I'll go and get my PhD. The other huge thing that we talked about was mentorship. Dr. Kumar has provided me with so many resources. I can't even begin to explain how grateful I've been with her. My experience with research this last summer was through a resource that she provided, an application that I didn't even know about. She's also helped me a lot with advice and like advice career-wise and advice personally as well. I have such a great relationship with her. Also connections in industry from her past experience in school. She's connected me with so many people. So I'm really grateful to the connection I formed with undergrad research with my mentor, Dr. Kumar. And then along with that, and kind of as Eric mentioned, undergraduate research has also helped with my personal and professional skills. So when we're talking about leadership in a lab or time management, also technical writing for publications, etc. So I'm really grateful that I've been able to partake in undergraduate research. And it's so important here at Mines, especially because other institutions don't usually financially support undergrad researchers. A lot of them, it's more so volunteer-based. And so Mines having these sort of resources like FIRST, Murph, SURF, honestly have made such a difference for so many people on campus. And so that is a little bit about my experience with it. And so thank you for listening.
Arielle, thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, so inspiring. Congratulations on the recognition for RMAC Freshman of the Year. When that happened, but definitely you juggle a lot of stuff. Thank you so much. Our office, like, we really do think supporting students while they are engaging in this process is really important to alleviate some of the burden, so they can really do research, spend time doing research. So we appreciate that feedback. And with that, my last slide, I am going to talk about, an important part of what we do is to showcase and celebrate our scholars. It's absolutely important for us. So in 2008 is when we had the very first Mines Undergraduate Research Spring Symposium in a matter of 4 years. Now we are, so the symposium started as a poster session, a 2-hour poster session. So now we have grown from that to like a 2-day symposium where students present oral, they have a choice. They can present an oral talk or present a poster. And in addition to the spring symposium, we now do the fall symposium too. So that's all good news. And I wanted to quick talk about the spring symposium coming up in 2023. So dates are 19 and 20. If you're on campus, we would love for you to stop by, talk to our students. If you'd like to volunteer as a judge, we would definitely love that. Any interaction that we could have, students really enjoy talking about their research, as you can see. And in addition to that, our symposium events, Mines also has a undergraduate research journal, Rouleau, which is completely student run. I serve as a faculty advisor for Rouleau. So what is Rouleau? So it's the undergraduate research journal, which is focused on celebrating the efforts, accomplishments, and creativity of our student researchers and faculty mentors. Communication is a big piece of undergraduate research. So, typically students poster present, then do the oral presentation and then write a manuscript for Rouleau, which is all fantastic. So the journal basically provides students another platform, right, by which they can disseminate their research to the Mines community and beyond. We try to feature faculty interviews, research spotlights, all sorts of fun and exciting stuff in Rouleau. So the next edition would be coming up in April 2023 during the spring symposium. So with that, I am happy to take any questions you have about our program.
I have a question. Is
Yes,
my
ma'am.
microphone turned on? Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Of course, coming from the alumni side of the fence, I'm always interested to know what opportunities there are for alumni to engage in your program. It sounds like perhaps being a judge at one of the symposium would be wonderful. So that's my question. Are there opportunities for alumni to get involved? And then of those who do, or who may already be involved, are many of them alumni from the program itself?
Thank you so much for those questions. So yes, of course, serving as a judge is one opportunity, but we would love, for instance, for the fall symposium, the keynote speaker was an alumni. So we would love for alumni to come and present either at one of a symposium, do a keynote talk, or we also organize something called as an Emerging Scholar Seminar Series. It's a bi-weekly where we invite present topics, all over about research. And that would be a great place to do a guest presentation. right? So Rulo also routinely seeks reviewers. It is important that the students, write to be able to communicate to a wide variety of audience. So you don't have to be an expert in that discipline that you're reading. So we definitely appreciate some help as with peer review with the Rulo. Yeah, those are definitely some activities that I could think of where we would love help.
Great. We'll stay connected on that.
Yes.
I do see a question from Stefan. Your hand is raised.
Yes, do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, so thank you, great presentation. So I'm asking this question based on probably recommending future students who want to pursue their undergraduate studies at Mines. By the way, I'm Stefan, class of 2022. I just graduated 6 months ago with my master's degree. So I came to Mines to pursue graduate studies, and I was quite astonished how undergraduate students are taking undergraduate research. And that's very great because where I came from, pursuing undergraduate research wasn't so common. It wasn't much of a thing. And very few students were quite interested or curious in pursuing research. So I know I came quite 30 minutes late because sorry for that. I missed a lot of information. Probably this question was answered. But I was just curious to ask, when it comes to undergraduate research, is it something that, undergraduate students can only pursue in their senior year, or even by their junior year, they can start being quite interested in pursuing research?
Definitely, Stefan. Thank you for joining us, and congratulations on your graduation. So, yeah, undergraduate students can really pursue research like from the very first semester on their campus. A few years ago, we did notice that most students that were participating in research were typically juniors and seniors, right? So. There are so many benefits to engaging students' research early on. So that is exactly why we designed the first program to recruit them early on to do undergraduate research. So yes, first year students are welcome to do research. And as a matter of fact, like in the first cohort right now, there are 40 students doing research. And just an FYI, there are students that are doing research, are either doing research for course credits, or the faculty is basically providing funding for their research. There's so many other pathways. So there's a lot more than the numbers that I presented to you.
Wow, thank you.
And Lakshmi, a follow-up to that question too. And again, this may have been touched on earlier, but how does a first-year student or a sophomore, or really anyone, do they fill out an application to say, I want to do this, or do they reach out to their to the department head that they want to do the research with, or what is the process? What is the selection process?
Great question. It can happen. There's multiple ways, right? There are students that come to mind specifically because they've heard of a faculty or a research that's happening and they're extremely interested, right? So then they reach out to the faculty and express interest, and the faculty then will direct them to our office and then would encourage them to apply. So so there are students that come with that focus, and there are students that want to do research but aren't quite sure which faculty at Mines would be a good fit, right? So there's students we help. So that's what we do. We try to meet one-on-one with them and try to understand what might be a good fit. So those are some of the ways, but also with the Mines Undergraduate Research Fellowship, every spring, we send out an email to all faculty asking them to submit research projects, right? And we compile everything, and it's available on our website. So I always say, tell new students, if they are kind of interested and curious on what students really do, go through that list. There's a lot of projects in there, but they are tagged by the department or a major. So, sit down, go through the list and see what project appeals to you, make a list of projects, and reach out to mentors. So all are, always work.
Thank you. Good to know. I do have another question. I always have questions. Sorry.
No
Thank you
worries.
for being so patient. Okay. I'm thinking about, there are so many things to get involved with at Mines, and everyone knows how rigorous the curriculum here is, no matter what course of study you choose. It's a lot, and we're sort of known for that and take a lot of pride in that. Would everybody agree with me? Yes.
Yes.
Everybody's nodding. Okay, good. So what happens to a student who says, oh, I'm really interested in doing undergraduate research in engineering physics or whatever the area is. And I'm not, Paul, I'm not picking on you at all, but what if a student gets into the program and says, oh my gosh, I just cannot, I can't carry this load. I've bitten off more than I can chew. I need to step down. I'm curious to know what your retention rate is of the students who step up and say, I want to do this. How many, step down and say, wow, maybe I need to pick this up another time. How does
Right.
that work?
And then I have to say that does happen, over the course of 4 years. There are certain semesters that are definitely there doing a lot, right? And students do come to my office and say, hey, I've been awarded Murph. Unfortunately, I have too much going on this semester. Can I take a semester break? And I'm like, yes, take care of what you need to take care of, right? And faculty are very understanding of the fact that there might be some semesters here and there where they might not be able to put in the time, that's needed. So yes, that happens, but I feel like most of the students that want a semester break or so are still touch with the faculty, that there is some kind of they have a conversation if this spring, if they're are going to be gone, maybe they'll come back fall and continue their research. Students do go pursue internship opportunities, right? So there's there are breaks. That is okay.
Sure.
That is definitely okay. And as Arielle mentioned, there are students that join research groups and then, maybe thinking that they wanted to major in a particular subject, let's say chemistry, and then they realize, oh my gosh, I actually love physics, right? Maybe they are doing a physics research or something in ways. So I feel like this definitely the research experience helps clarify their career path, be it like pursuing the major that they came here for or switching majors. All in all, I think it's fantastic for students, right? Whatever the direction they try to go. So I don't know if that answered your question, Ruth, but we do have students that take breaks.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for getting into that. It's just good to know all the context of this, because it's a big commitment. But nice to know that, if you need to take a break, you can, or if something is pulling you in another direction, you can do that, and you can always come back.
Yeah.
So,
And I actually have heard students say that even though doing research is, it's a time commitment and it's definitely challenging, but in some ways it's like a mental break from their, doing their coursework, right, in a refreshing way, because you tend to work with this big group of grad students, postdoc faculty, so they really find that appealing.
yeah.
I don't know if any of our scholars here can chime in and talk about that, but they are the movers and shakers, so they might have they might answer this question better.
I can just briefly echo that. I know we're coming up on time. I kind of think of it as two different things that I have to do during the day or during a week. I have my coursework and I have research stuff. And though there is a lot of overlap, the research kind of engages a different part of my brain than when I'm just doing homework. It's a lot more collaborative. It's a lot more creative than just solving problems that are in a textbook. And because of that, I treat my research as something that's like something to look forward to and really fun.
Awesome.
Though there are many challenges, of course, so many challenges.
Does anyone, any of our other students want to share, or are there other comments or questions from the group before we start closing out?
Yeah, I can just kind of echo what Paul said. Undergraduate research, it's the reason that I changed research groups when I changed my major was because I wanted to start applying what I was using in class to research, which has been really, really great. And so kind of like what I said, it has helped solidify what I've learned in class, because being able to not only apply it to an outside application, but to apply it to data that you actually generated yourself, I think is really great for learning. And I think it's just a really great experience overall.
Very cool. Okay, well, we've just got a couple minutes before we say goodbye. I want to thank Lakshmi and Paul and Arielle and Eric. Wow, rock stars, you are rock stars. Everybody can clap. Thank you so much for sharing your lunchtime with us and giving us a sneak peek at the kinds of things you're working on, and the incredible momentum and uniqueness of this program for all who want to get involved. It's fabulous. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Before we say goodbye, and as I do each month, I just want to give a quick plug for upcoming programs and invite you all to join us again if you're able. Our program for December is happening a little earlier than normal. Usually Lunch Bunch is always the third Thursday of the month, but for December, that bumps right into graduation week. So Lunch Bunch will be just a week earlier on December the 8th. And this one is a little different. It's the only in-person Lunch Bunch that we will offer, or that we typically offer. And it's a Q&A with President Johnson. So you'll have his ear for an hour. If you have a comment or a question or a concern that you'd like to share, he would love to have you join us, as would I. So again, you can RSVP on the alumni website, again, which is WEARE, that's WEARE, all run together, weare.minds.edu. And if you hover your cursor over the word alumni, you'll see Lunch Bunch comes up, and all of our programs are listed there. Recordings are there as well, as I mentioned earlier in the program. And then coming up in January, that program will go back to the normal third Thursday. And so that will be on January the 19th. Our speaker will be Sam Spiegel. And Sam oversees the Minds Online program. So that'll be a very interesting one too. So please join us. Keep your eyes and ears open for more programs as we go through the spring. We're working on that schedule as we speak. And of course, your ideas for programs are always welcome and encouraged. So with that, happy snow, everybody, if you're here locally. Safe travels home to wherever you're going, and go Ore Diggers.